Hello, fictional. Welcome to the What If Issei. Today we are gonna see, what if Kazuma the older brother of Issei? Part 1. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Oni-san, when are you gonna play with me? Asked by the 12-year-old boy. The young boy was outside of the front door watching his older brother walking to the car that was taking him away to a fancy school for 4 years. He enjoyed being with his older brother, he would play with him, help him study whenever his older brother studies, and sometimes he gets upset whenever his older brother stops him from peeping at some older schoolgirls. I can't this time Is-kun, I'm going to be somewhere for a while to study. The 13th brother replied sadly. The older brother wasn't happy that he's leaving his family for his new school, although it would help him unlock his full potential, but not being able to see his family for 4 years was saddening for him, especially not being able to spend time with his younger brother. The older brother walked to the car, then he felt something wrapped around him. He turned his head to see his younger brother hugging him, not wanting to let go of his only brother. He could hear him sobbing behind him, mumbling something. Sob Oni-san. Sob when you come back, sob can we? Beep 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 click. The young man quickly turned off his alarm clock, making sure that it wouldn't go off again. He laid back on his bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about the memory of his loving family and his little brother. 4 years. It had been 4 years since he left home. During his stay at the so-called gifted school was just a cover-up to experiment kids on being the chosen one, capable to wield Excalibur and become a superhuman to fight off devils and demons. He was held prisoner for 1 year, being experimented on multiple things, almost killing him to death a few times. One day there was a sudden incident that made the place destroyed, only leaving him alive. After the incident he was saved by a clan of ninjas called Kage. They are known as ninjas hidden from the world that perform different type of missions to assist others, including the supernatural. As he got off of his futon, he checked the time, seeing that it was 6 in the morning, thinking that his little brother was either up or sleeping. He was excited to meet his family again. When he joined the fake private school, the fake administrators told his parents that they weren't allowed to contact him, explaining that interference would kick him out of the school, losing the scholarship of his life. The parents sadly agreed, thinking that it would benefit their son to be a great man. He didn't blame them for what had happened. He wanted to make his family proud as well, especially his little brother. He took a shower, changed into his clothes wearing his blue jeans, black sneakers, red long-sleeve shirt, and wore a leather jacket over it. Then he had his breakfast, carried his duffel bag and left the hotel to finally go home. Park. Kazuma was now sitting at the park bench taking a little break while gazing at the sky. A few days before, he called his mom Surpersinger and not to tell Issei and his dad about his arrival, so he could surprise them. She asked what time he was coming by, but he told her it would be a surprise. He was excited for today. He couldn't wait to see his family and his little brother again. He wondered if he changed a lot during the past 4 years, or still be the same perverted little brother that will always get beaten to death by beautiful girls. He doesn't blame him for being a pervert. He has his moments a few times, but doesn't like going overboard, like daydreaming about breast in front of the girl that you like or being forward about it as well. I can finally see you again, Is-kun. Kazuma said, smiling while looking at the sky. After he left the park, he saw 3 girls wearing a school uniform, walking the opposite direction of where he was going. Then a strong wind blew towards the girls' direction, lifting up their skirts, making them yelp while pushing their skirts down. Kazuma caught a peek at the 3 girls' panties, seeing the left one was pure white, other on the right was hot pink, and the middle was a black and red lewd type, which made him smirked but shook his head, trying not to be perverted. Then he looked at the other side of the sidewalk to look around, his eyes suddenly widen in shock, seeing his little brother wearing the high school uniform with a beautiful red head walking in front of him. Is-kun. Kazuma whispered, making a small smile. He couldn't believe how much he'd grown in the past 4 years. He wanted to charge at him and give him a hug, but he thought it would be better not to embarrass him. He doubted Issei would recognize him since his hair was now longer and messy than before. Then he finally passed his little brother, making one last turn to see his little brother how much he's grown, and now turned back to his neighborhood. Kazuma arrived at his old neighborhood. He saw that the neighborhood hasn't changed a lot since he last left. Then he was finally in front of his house. He gazed at the house he was living in before he left. He saw that the front hasn't changed that much either. He slowly walked towards the house, feeling nervous about surprising his parents. Then he finally knocked, waiting for someone to answer the door. He heard a woman telling him to wait 1 moment, which made him feel more nervous as it is. When the door finally opened, he tried hold back the tears, now finally seeing his mother in person once again. Hello. Kazuma was cut by his mother's hug. Kazuma-kun, sob, I'm so glad you're back. Kazuma's mother said, sobbing with joy. Kazuma was surprised. After 4 years his mother still recognized him. Kazuma was getting teary, hugging his mother back. He missed the feeling of his mother. He wanted to hug his mother after 4 years of not seeing them. I'm home, Okasan. Kazuma replied, smiling cheerfully. After his happy moment being with his mother, they both went in the house. His mother told him to wait here so she could get his father. Kazuma nodded in excitement, wanting to surprise his father as well. While he waited, he examined what changed in his old house. He was surprised of how much the inside changed in the past 4 years. Then he saw his mother covering his father's eyes to surprise him. "Otu-san, we have a special visitor that you should really meet," his mother said, smiling excitedly. "Aka-san, why are you covering my eye?" His father was cut off when his mother uncovered his father's eyes, making him shock. "Hey, Otu-san," Kazuma said, smiling. "Kazuma-kun," his father said in shock. "Hey, Otu-san, I'm home." Kazuma smiling cheerfully. After his reunion with his parents, they had some tea, and his parents asked how was the school and what he had done for the past 4 years. Kazuma didn't want to know. He couldn't tell his parents about what he went through during the 4 years. So he lied, telling them that he had a good time even though he was bored sometimes, but he would in the kendo club to clear his head and work. Well, when he was in the village, he would train and take on missions to improve his skills. He also read up countless books and scrolls containing different information all over the world. "Have you made any friends over the years you were there?" Aka-sen asked excitedly. Kazuma was quiet for a second, thinking about his friends he made at the clan house. His friends were all ninja and mythical beings. He would be on different types of team, teaching him the meaning of teamwork and communication, especially friendship. Some of them were cold, smart, hyperactive, kind-hearted, laid-back, sadist, and even perverted sometimes, which he does not want to recall those moments, but in the end they all cared for one another. "Yay, I made a bunch over the years," Kazuma said, smiling. "What about girls? Have you met any pretty girls over there?" Otu-san asked, teasing, making his first son madly blush of embarrassment. "Otu-san, don't start teasing Kazuma-kun like that," Aka-san said excitedly, waving her hand back and forth. Kazuma sighed deeply in relief, thanking his mother for stopping his father, making him feel embarrassed. But when he was at the village, he did meet a lot of pretty girls that are ninjas there. But during that time he didn't know that several of them were supernatural beings. "So, how's his kun been?" Kazuma asked excitedly, changing the subject. "Issei-kun, he's good, still a pervert as always, but he's still a good son," Aka-san said, sighing about her second son. I'm not surprised, that's what makes him my little brother." Kazuma chuckled while drinking his tea. Kazuma always knew his little brother was a pervert. Issei would see him stare at the older girls in high school back when they were young. He made a breast-shaped sand from the sandbox which looked really hard to make and would imagine about girls with great figures, breast, butt, and mention about weird fetish of cosplay one time. But besides the perverted side of him, he would always show kindness to those who needs help and have an unwavering determination of wanting to protect and help those who are important to him. "Oh, I almost forgot, Issei-kun also slept with a foreign girl this morning," Aka-san said, literally making Kazuma spit out his tea in shock. Is-kun slept with a foreign girl?" Kazuma yelled in shock. He never thought his little brother would meet a girl, but a foreign girl, and also sleep with her. "Yay, she's a close friend of Issei-kun at his same school. She had long red hair, blue-green eyes, and a great figure. I couldn't believe it myself when they were sleeping naked together," his Aka-san said, making Kazuma's jaws drop in shock. "Don't worry, they didn't do anything, they're just close friends, that's all," his Otu-san reassured him. Kazuma sighed deeply in relief and suddenly realized something was wrong. He knew that his parents were never so liberal, especially to see high level of indecency. Then he felt a familiar energy around the house, including his parents. He used his powers to sense what energy was flowing around. As he concentrated, he saw a dark red aura flowing through the house. His eyes widened in shock, realizing that there was a devil here, but a Gremory. This can't be. Why was a Gremory member here? Kazuma asked himself, trying to understand the situation. Then he remembered Issei walking to school with a beautiful redhead. Before he could finish his thoughts, his phone suddenly started ringing. He took it out, seeing it was a friend of his from the village. "Excuse Aka-san and Otu-san, I have an important call to answer, but it shouldn't take long," Kazuma explained while heading outside. "Hello Itachi-sama, I didn't expect for you to call so soon," Mifuno said. "Hello Kazuma-san, I apologize if I have interrupted your family reunion, but I have an important mission for you to handle," Itachi replied calmly. "How did you?" I see, it's no worries Itachi-sama," Kazuma replied, knowing that his friend is a master ninja after all. "Anyway, do you know of a high school called Kuoh Academy?" asked by the raven hair ninja. "No, I haven't yet since I got back from the village," Kazuma replied. "Well, it was considered an all-girls school once, but changed a while back, and the leaders of Gremory and the Satiri clan own the school as administrators, but that's not the issue here. Our client Surzich has asked you to watch over his little sister and her peerage," Itachi explained. "What? Why would Surziches want a human to watch over his little sister? Last I heard, isn't she titled the Princess of Destruction because she's deadly with the same powers she has as her older brother?" Kazuma questioned. Yes, but he told me personally requesting to have you since you are not only just a human, but more capable than others in the clan. I asked him for a reason, but the only thing he told me that he was worried about is little sister. Itachi explained. Kazuma sighed, understanding what an older sibling would do for their younger sibling. I understand, what do I need to keep an eye on her and her group as well? Kazuma asked. For now we have prepared for you to enroll in the Kuoh Academy as a transfer student, since they own the school itself, we have a proper connection to put you in easily. Itachi said while organizing the papers. I see, anything else I need to know? Kazuma asked. Also, your younger brother goes to school as well and have a connection with the younger sibling of Lucifer. Itachi said calmly. Oh crap, Kazuma said while face palming himself in surprise. Later. Kazuma was now in front of the school. Before he left he told his parents that he will be attending to the same school that Issei was going. He lied to his parent, explaining that after he was done with the 4 years at his old school, he had to take 1 year of another school to graduate, completing his course since he was a younger student, making his parents accept his explanation. Wow, this school looks like a mansion. Kazuma thought to himself looking at the front of the school. Yes, it's indeed impressive for 2 devil clans to handle human school. Itachi said, appearing out of nowhere. Oh Itachi-sama, I thought you were going to call me about the enrollment already. Kazuma said, slightly being surprised to see his older friend, but what surprised him the most was he was wearing a businessman's suit, making him look like a regular person. I would prefer to tell you in person while I have a chance to see what the school looks like. Itachi explained, looking at the front of the school while having his hands in his pockets. Why do you want to examine the school, Itachi-sama? Kazuma asked, wondering. Because I might be considering sending a couple of ninjas to learn a few things about the school life. Really, who are you going to choose? Kazuma asked, tilting his head. It hasn't been decided yet, but when the time has come I would like for you to help them until they get used to the idea. Itachi explained while staring at the view of the school. Understood, Itachi-sama. Kazuma replied, bowing to his master and friend. Then suddenly Itachi's cell phone started ringing. He picked up his phone and answered the call. The conversation between Itachi and the person lasted a few minutes to see if Kazuma was able to attend to his little brother's school. Itachi finally hung the phone and sighed deeply, making Kazuma more nervous. Kazuma-san, you are officially transferred into the Kuoh Academy as a third-year student and you start today. Itachi said calmly, making Kazuma sigh deeply of relief from being nervous all for nothing. Thank you, Itachi-sama. Kazuma said cheerfully while bowing. Here. Itachi said, giving him a scroll. What's the scroll for? Kazuma asked, receiving the scroll. Their uniform, you can consider it as parting gift from the clan. Itachi explained. Thank you, Itachi-sama, I hope we meet again soon. Kazuma said, smiling, causing Itachi to show a small smirk. Kazuma-san, there is one more thing I need to mention. Itachi said, making him curious. Although you have faced many dangerous roads during your stay at the village, this is only the beginning of what you'll be facing from anything you have fought before. So I ask of you to take caution, use everything that you've learned and show them what you're truly made of from being with the Kage clan. Itachi said with a serious tone. Understood, Itachi-sama. Kazuma replied, seeing Itachi nodded while making a small smirk and left, vanishing into the shadows. Kazuma used the scroll and a puff of smoke covered him, and instantly he was wearing his new uniform. He wore a black blazer with white accents, a white long-sleeved dress shirt with a black ribbon on a collar, matching black pants, and dressed brown shoes. Kazuma started walking inside the school, walking into a new road of adventures. In the classroom. Class, we suddenly have a new student that just transferred from another private school. The teacher said. A new student, I hope it's a handsome boy. One of the girls said. I hope it's a chick from a different country. One of the guys said as well. A new transfer student at this time around. The long raven-haired girl said, smiling. I didn't expect having a student transfer during the semester. The crimson-haired girl thought to herself, feeling curious. You may come in now, Mr. Hyoudou-san. Said the teacher, making everyone confused, thinking that it was Issei who wanted to be with the crimson-haired girl, but they'll soon learn of how wrong they were. The new student entered the classroom, making everyone shocked, including the crimson and raven hair student. This wasn't Issei, one of the perverted trio. He was an inch or two taller with long short spiky brown hair with bangs almost covering one of his dark brown eyes. Better description, Ichigo's hairstyle when he fought his yen. The guys in the class were shocked while the girls, except Rias and Akeno, were dumbstruck to see that Issei's relative was attractive. Now San, would please introduce yourself in front of the class. The teacher asked. Hello, my name is Hyoudou, Kazuma, I'm Issei's older brother, I just came back from different private school, so I hope we can get along. Kazuma said cheerfully, making everyone dumbstruck except Rias and Akeno, who were suspicious of who he really is. After class, a whole group of students wanted to ask the newcomer, but he disappeared from class. Kazuma was now at the top of the school gazing at the sky. He wondered how he was going to surprise Issei. But then he heard the door opened, revealing 2 students that were in the same class as him. On the right was a woman in her late teens with a gorgeous body, a light skin tone and beautiful blue-green eyes. But what made her very beautiful was her crimson hair that reaches down to her thighs. He knew right away that she was Ria's Gremory, the younger sister of Serzich's Lucifer. He has to say, even though Issei is a big pervert, he felt proud of his little brother sleeping with a hot woman like her, even though they didn't do see the high level of indecency. But what made him concerned is why was Issei involved with her. The other female on left side of Ria's made Kazuma slightly blush was Akeno Himejima. She has a gorgeous figure as well, but seeing her breasts was slightly bigger than Ria's, she also looks around Ria's age as well with long raven-colored hair and a ponytail, reaching all the way down to her legs, with two antennae sticking out from the top and slopping backwards, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place and stunning gentle-looking violet eyes. "Hello Gremory-san and Himejima-san, what can I do for you?" Kazuma asked cheerfully while leaning back of the wall. "I would like to ask you a few things if you don't mind, Hyoudou-san." Rias asked him while smiling. "Ask away, but please call me Kazuma." Kazuma replied. "Well then Kazuma-san, I want to know who you really are." Rias questioned with a serious tone. "What do you mean? I just explained in class that my name was Hyoudou." Kazuma, Issei's older brother. He replied smiling. "Don't lie to me, Issei never mentioned about having an older brother before." Rias explained in a calm tone. "Well, I guess he haven't told you then, it's not a surprising since I was gone for 4 years at my other school." Kazuma said sighing, "But what I would like to know is why is my little brother hanging out with one of the members of the Gremory clan?" Kazuma said in a serious tone, making Rias surprised and aggravated. "How do you know about the Gremory clan?" Rias questioned, glaring at him while leaking out some of her demonic aura, making Kazuma chuckle from seeing her powers. That's a pretty impressive amount of power you're bringing out, but don't worry, I am not here to fight you or anything, but to keep an eye on you and your peerage." Kazuma explained calmly, seeing Rias lessen her power while being confused. "Keep an eye on us, what do you mean?" Rias asked. Kazuma gets off of the ground and walks towards the two female students. "That I cannot answer Gremory-san unless we play a certain game," Kazuma said, making both of the girls wonder what he's planning. "And what type of game would we have to play?" Akeno asked politely. Kazuma brings out a coin out of his pocket, showing them a large dollar coin from a different country. "The game is simple, whoever guesses right from the coin landing on heads or tails, the loser will have to answer the winner's question each time," Kazuma explained while showing them the coin. "I see, and would you keep your promise of telling us the truth?" Rias asked. "Of course Gremory-san, if I would lie I wouldn't even suggest playing the game from the start. And also, I hope you promise as well," Kazuma said. "Why would I not?" Rias asked, smiling at him. "Because you better hope that I don't ask about any naughty things about you, Gremory-san," Kazuma replied, teasing Rias, making her smile turn into shock and blush of embarrassment, while Akeno giggled seeing her friend embarrassed. "It's a joke, Gremory-san," Kazuma reassured, making Rias relieved. This game sounds rather interesting to play, do you mind if I join in as well?" Akeno asked. "Of course, the more players the more fun the game becomes," Kazuma said, smiling at Akeno, and tosses the coin to Rias. "I'll let you go first if you don't mind," Kazuma asked, seeing Rias shook her head. "Then I'll choose heads then," Rias said, flipping the coin up. The coin landed back on her hand, revealing heads, making Rias smiling, while Kazuma chuckled. "Ask away, Gremory-san," Kazuma said, smiling. "Courtyard. Damn it, I can't believe they ditched me again," Issei shouted while running away from the kendo club girls. Issei and his friends were peeking at the girls' kendo club, they were drooling over the girls' half-naked figures while they were changing. Then suddenly one of them fell on the ground, making a loud noise, causing the girls to see that the guys were peeking at them once again. Both of Issei's friends dashed out of there before Issei could turn, but then he saw the whole kendo club charging towards him. He was running for his life, trying to avoid punishment from kendo club, but failed as he started tripping over a small rock on the ground. Issei landed on his face, feeling the hard ground. When he started getting up, the kendo club were in front of him preparing to attack. All Issei could do was brace himself for a beating of a lifetime, knowing what he did was a man's job to see beautiful naked women. The two girls that were in front of him swung their shinais towards Issei's face. He closed his eyes waiting for it to end, but suddenly he heard the shinais made contact, but it wasn't him that was hit. "Damn it is Kun, it's been 4 years and you still get beaten up by girls, but on the bright side they are pretty cute," a man said cheerfully, making the kendo girls club blush by his compliment, while Issei was shocked hearing a familiar voice. Issei opened his eyes and widens, not believing what he's seeing. His older brother was in front of him, grabbing the two shinais with his hands. "And Nai-san," Issei yelled in shock. "And Nai-san," Issei yelled in shock. "Hey Is-kun, it's been a while, hasn't?" Kazuma said, turning his head to see him while holding both of the shinais with his hands. "Nai-san, what are you doing here? I thought you were still at school," Issei said, showing a confused look on his face. Kazuma wanted to face palm himself, but couldn't since his hands are in use already. "Aka, did you forget that it's been 4 years already? Damn it Is-kun, I thought you knew that already," Kazuma shouted at him. Issei forgot about him staying at the fancy school a year or two ago due to getting distracted by perverted stuff like read manga, play video games, watch porn and peek at girls changing in school. But besides all that, he would never forget about his older brother. He used to ask his parents if they could see him, but the parents explained that the school didn't allow any contact outside of school for 4 years or they'll cut off his scholarship. He wasn't thrilled about the school not allowing any contact to see his brother, but he didn't want to ruin his chance of the scholarship. He stared at his older brother with a mix of shock and a surprised expression. Issei notices his hair was longer and his face was older looking. Then he realized that he's seen him before. He remembers seeing a man with the same hairstyle covering his eyes passing by the sidewalk when he was heading to school with Rias. He also should have figured that his mother knew too. He was wondering why she was in a cheerful mood before he left to school. He thought that she was preparing for celebrating their parents' anniversary or something. "Nai-san, why didn't you tell me?" Issei tried to ask, but was cut off by Kazuma. "I'll explain later, but right now let's settle this little situation," Kazuma said, turning his head back to the Kendo Girls Club. "Who are you?" Murayama shouted, questioning the man in front of her while trying to remove the shinai out of Kazuma's hand. "My name is Hyoudou, Kazuma. Is-kun older brother, it's nice to meet you," Kazuma said, greeting the Kendo Girls Club members. "What? I didn't know that disgusting perv has a brother," Cadis exclaimed. Kazuma felt a little ticked off from hearing his little brother being insulted, even though his little brother is a pervert to being with. "Yes, and I would like to know why were you trying to hit him with a shinai?" Kazuma asked calmly. "That's because him and his friends were peeking at us while we were in the changing room," one of the members shouted with an angry tone. Kazuma slowly turned his head at Issei, giving him a glare, making Issei chuckle nervously, knowing that his brother was upset. Then he turned back, taking a deep sigh. "Well, I don't blame my little brother, you guys do look cute wearing the Kendo uniform." Kazuma complimented them, making the members of the club blush from his statement. Kazuma let go of the shinais and walked over to Issei, lifting him off the ground. "Don't worry, Issei, I got this handlet," Kazuma whispered. Then he walked back to the Kendo Girls Club and bowed. "I apologize for my little brother's actions, but I can't let you beat him," Kazuma said calmly, once again making Issei surprised and relieved, while the Kendo members were upset of not giving punishment to Issei for peeking. Kazuma lifted himself from his bow. "But I know that he deserves punishment for peeking, so I'm gonna make a deal with you guys," Kazuma explained, hearing Issei scream in shock while the girls smirked with excitement. "What kind of deal are we talking about?" Murayama asked. "Well, since you guys are in your uniform, why don't we have a duel? If I win, you and your club won't pummel Is-kun and apologize for trying to attack him," Kazuma explained. "And what would happen if we win?" Murayama asked, crossing her arms. "You decide on what you want," Kazuma replied, smiling at Murayama. The members huddled up into a circle, having a conversation about what they want. Issei was freaking out, having a feeling that the bet was going to scar him, while Kazuma was waiting patiently for the members to finish their conclusion on the deal. Then finally, Murayama and Cadis walked towards Kazuma. "We decided that if we win, the pervert will have to run through the courtyard naked, saying I'm a big pervert and I'm into BL as punishment," and Cadis finished her side of the explanation, letting Murayama, who stepped forward, to end it. "You will also have to treat the whole club to karaoke," Murayama said, smiling. Kazuma tilted his head from being surprised, while Issei became frozen from shock while having his jaws drop to the ground, thinking if he heard them right. I didn't expect that to happen, but alright, you have yourself a deal," Kazuma replied, smiling excitedly, while the girls were excited, thinking that they're gonna win, and Issei's soul was leaking out of his body, becoming lifeless. The Kendo Club room. The girls were on one side of the room, while Issei and Kazuma were on the opposite side. Issei was extremely nervous, knowing if his brother loses, he'll have to run around the court naked, saying he's a big pervert and yuck into BL, making him lose his pride and lower his status at school. "Nai-san, why did you have to agree to this?" Issei said, crying while complaining about the bet. "Come on, Is-kun, don't you have faith in your brother?" Kazuma asked cheerfully. "Anything that doesn't involve me running naked through the courtyard in public," Issei yelled loudly, making Kazuma cover his ears from his yell. "Trust me, Is-kun, I got this," Kazuma said, making a thumbs up at his little brother while putting a hand on his shoulder, reassuring him. Issei sighed deeply and nodded to trust his older brother. He didn't show it, but he was happy to see he still has his back. Kazuma would always help him whenever he was in danger since they were kids. He would fight off the bullies that would pick on him, and he would punch them in the face, no matter how many they were. But since Kazuma left, things were still fine, even though he was called a pervert by the girls. Kazuma walked towards the ring with the other opponents waiting. His opponent was Murayama. He examines her wearing the head and arm gear while holding the shinai in a stance. Then one of the members brought Kazuma the shinai and body gear parts as well, but Kazuma only took the shinai, making the members, including Issei, wonder why, until one of the members spoke up. "Excuse me, Hyoudou senpai, but you'll get hurt if you don't wear any protective gear," said one of the Kendo members. Thank you for your concern, but I'll be fine. Kazuma said, smiling, reassuring one of the kendo member. Then Kazuma started moving his shinai around, getting used to the weight and speed. He would always train with shinai before and also use real weapons to gain a life or death experience from the village. Before, he would always lose against the more experienced fighter when he started training. It was brutal for him at first, but the training was all worth it. The two fighters took their stances, while Muayama was using the traditional stance to wield the shinai. Kazuma was making a ninja-style stance, holding the shinai above him, aiming at his opponent while spreading his left leg forward and bend his right leg back. One of the member was in the middle of the ring, raising her hand up, acting as a referee to start the duel. The rules were simple: one hit contact on the opponent first wins. Then the room became silent. Everyone was eager about who will make the first strike. Issei was a nervous wreck, chewing on his shirt to try to calm himself, but it wasn't helping him. The referee finally threw her hand down, starting the duel. Muayama was about to attack, but she tilted her head, being confused of her opponent. Everyone else turned, seeing Issei's older brother eyes close, causing everyone to be surprised and confused. Kazuma, what the hell are you doing? Issei yelled in his thoughts, still chewing his shirt while sweat dropping nervously. Muayama gulped, trying to think of what she should do. She didn't know whether to come or wait for his attack. She clenched onto her shinai and took a deep breath, finally deciding her strategy. She has slowly started to move around sideways, trying to find an opening. She finally dashes at Kazuma with full speed, making everyone anxious of the outcome. She was now close enough to perform a horizontal strike at Kazuma's head. Issei closed his eyes, not bearing to see his brother lose, but before he could close them, his eyes widened in shock of what was about to happen in an instant. POW. Everyone became shocked of what just happened, including Muayama herself. Kazuma quickly parried her attack and with amazing speed, hit her protective headgear. They couldn't believe it. It all happened in an instant for everyone to try and understand what had happened. Muayama couldn't believe what had happened. She thought she had him, but he suddenly got her by surprise. She dropped down her shinai and fell on her knees. She felt ashamed that she lost and failed her team. She took off her headgear, feeling depressed, but then she saw a hand in front of her. I gotta admit, you almost had me for a second there when you were on the other side. Kazuma said cheerfully while giving her a hand. Why aren't you mad? Muayama questioned him with a flustered look on her face. Why should I be? Kazuma asked, titling his head. I almost made your perverted brother run around school naked as a punishment and have you treat us to karaoke as well. Doesn't that make you upset? Muayama questioned him again. Kazuma made a small sigh while rubbing the back of his head and kneeled down to her a little, but that doesn't mean I should be mad at you. Besides, I know my brother can be a pervert at times, but that's how he is. Kazuma explained. Muayama became even more flustered seeing him so close up to her. She lightly gazed at the man, seeing how attractive he is, almost compared to Kiba, the Prince of Kuoh, who is very handsome. His hair made him look like rock star with a short long spiky hair look while having a calm, gentle looking eyes that made her have chills. And lastly his smile showed cheerfulness and excitement. She started to stare at his lips, wanting to feel those soft looking. Muayama mentally slapped herself, snapping her out of what she was thinking. She only met this man less than an hour and now she feels her chest slightly pounding for some reason. Kazuma got up from the floor while giving Muayama a hand. She was hesitant at first, acting shy for some reason, but she grabbed his hand and was lifted off the floor. Well, I should be going, see you around. Kazuma said, trying to say her name, but he forgot to ask. It's Muayama said shyly while showing a dust of blush on her cheeks. Muayama-chan, will I see you around? Muayama-chan. Kazuma bowed and started leaving. Kazuma walked towards Issei. Told you I got it. Kazuma said cheerfully, patting on one of Issei's shoulders, and exited the room. Hey pervert. Cadis yelled, getting Issei's attention. He turned, seeing all the girls in the line in front bowing. We're sorry for trying to hurt you. The girls said in a unison, making Issei dumbstruck at first, but then made a goofy smile, feeling happy hearing the cute Kendo Girl Club apologizing to him, but it didn't last long. But if you ever peek at us again, we will make sure to give you and your friends a divine punishment that you deserve. Cadis declared in an angry tone, causing Issei to shiver in fear, making him dash out of the room. After school. Kazuma was now in front of the old schoolhouse building where he has to meet the Occult Research Club that Riaz mentioned earlier today. He saw that there were trees surrounding the area and the building was made of wood. It was pretty big for the club to use, but he was surprised to see that there wasn't any people around. He also heard from some of the students gossiping about the building being called one of the 7 wonders of school, but besides that he was still shocked of what happened to his little brother. Flashback. Ask away, Gremory-san. Kazuma said, smiling. Who hired you to watch us? Riaz questioned while showing her serious expression. The one who hired me was Surzich's Lucifer, your older brother. Kazuma answered, seeing Riaz and Akeno surprised. Oni-sama hired you, but why? Riaz asked, wanting to know more. Sorry, you gotta win again for me to answer. Kazuma said, making Rias cross her arms while making a cute pout, but accepted it. I guess it's my turn then, Akeno asked, making a smile while tilting her head. Yes it is. Kazuma replied, smiling back at the raven hair girl. Akeno was handed the coin by Rias. I call tails then. Akeno said as she then tossed a coin into the air, the coin landed revealing tails. Ara, looks like I win. Akeno said while having her hands on her cheeks. What would you like to ask me about? Kazuma asked. Since you were told to keep an eye on us, can you guess of what type of underwear I'm wearing? Akeno asked, smiling, making Kazuma tilt his head, making a confused look, while Ria's sweat dropped, knowing that her sadist side kick in and is now teasing him. Kazuma was surprised, he didn't expect someone to ask him that type of question, especially from a girl. Then his cheeks started to show patch of blush, making Akeno giggle. He thought about a few type of underwear she could be wearing, which started making blush even more. He shook his head, snapping out of the perverted thought, and tried to concentrate on what she could be wearing, and finally he figured it out already. Ara, did I make my question a little too indecent for you? Kazuma-san, Akeno asked, smiling while tilting her head. I know what you're wearing, but I prefer not to answer it. Kazuma explained, trying to act calmly while showing a dust of blush on his cheeks. Yufufufu, well if you know what I'm wearing, then it shouldn't be too hard for you to answer, right ka? Zu. Ma. San, Akeno asked in a seductive voice, making a sadistic smile which made him blush even more. Hind, you're wearing a black lewd matching pair of panties and bra. Kazuma replied, nervously, seeing Akeno giggle. You guess right, Kazuma-san, that was quite a bold move for you. Tell a girl what she's wearing, Yufufufu. Akeno said, giggling while teasing him. Well, I will apologize if I had embarrassed you in any way, Himejima-san. Kazuma said. Oh, there's no need to apologize, it was my decision to ask you, so it was a pleasure. And please, you don't have to call me by my surname, just Akeno is fine. Akeno explained while handing the coin to him. Very well, Akeno-san. Kazuma said, smiling, receiving the coin. Kazuma felt mentally exhausted from Akeno's question. He thought he was gonna blow a fuse after hearing her seductive voice. I call tails, Kazuma said, tossing the coin. The coin was up in the air for a few seconds, then it landed on tails. Looks like it's your win. Ria said, smiling, seeing Kazuma nod. Now, why is my little brother hanging around with you, Gremory-san? Kazuma asked in serious tone. Rias was silent for a few seconds. The reason why he's with me is because he's my cute servant. Rias explained. Kazuma eyes widened, knowing what she meant by her servant, his little brother became a devil. I see, Kazuma said calmly while clenching his hands, raising his power in slight anger. Both of the girls felt the pressure to be strong, seeing that he is not just a normal person to be messed with. Then the pressure had quickly depleted, seeing Kazuma calming down, taking a deep breath. Here you go, Gremory-san. Kazuma said, tossing the coin to Rias. I can explain about Rias was cut off by Kazuma. Sorry, Gremory-san, the game is still going, so when I get the chance I'll ask you myself. Kazuma said, making her nod. Then I'll choose tails then. Rias said, flipping the coin. This time it landed on heads, making Kazuma smile. So how did Iskun become your servant? Rias was silent again, not wanting to tell him the truth but had no choice. He was killed by a fallen angel a couple of days ago because he possesses a sacred gear. Rias explained. Kazuma felt his heart was about to shatter in pieces, now understanding why his brother became a devil. And out of nowhere the pressure of the power was heavier and stronger than before. Both of the girls were in shock to see how much power Kazuma was leaking out, but also sees anger in his eyes, knowing that his little brother was killed. Then he lowered the pressure down once again, taking a deep breath like before. I apologize for that, but I think I might have to end the game a little early right now. Kazuma said, taking his leave, but stop. But before I go. Kazuma said, making the girls confused. Kazuma was now in front of them and was down on his knees, bowing. Thank you for saving my little brother, I am truly grateful. Kazuma said, making both of the girls surprised, then he got up and started leaving. Kazuma-san. Ria said, making him stop and turn his face at hers. Come to the old schoolhouse after school, there's still questions that I want to ask you about, Ria said, smiling at him. Alright, I have some questions about my brother as well, but for now if you'll excuse me, Gremory-san, Akeno-san, I have a little brother to save from angry girls. Kazuma smiled and left. So what do you think, Bachu, is he a threat? Akeno asked while tilting her head. No, I don't think he's a threat against devils for now, but I do know that he was telling the truth about being Issei-kun's brother. Rias explained, leaning on the fence of the roof. What makes you so sure, Bachu-sama? Akeno asked, wondering. Rias turned to Akeno, making a small smile. Because his eyes showed me that he cares about Issei-kun just like my brother does with me. Rias explained. End of flashback. Kazuma entered the building, now seeing the inside of the old schoolhouse more elegant. He also noticed there were magic circles placed around, thinking it could be a barrier to ward off any threat from the building. Then he found the room he was looking for. He didn't know if he should knock or just go in, so he knocked the door. He heard Ria's voice to enter, giving him the signal to come in. He entered the room seeing Rias and Akeno playing a chess game and two more students as well. One was a male student with short blonde hair with grey eyes wearing the Kuoh school uniform, and the other was a girl. Oh crap, Kazuma thought in shock, sensing a familiar aura. The girl sitting on the couch had a petite body with white silvery hair and hazel eyes. She looked cute even though she shows no expression on her face. He remembered sensing a similar aura of a certain person before, relating to the quiet white-haired girl. He also felt something else in her. He sensed that she was hiding her true feelings from some reasons, but he couldn't tell. Hey Gremory-san and Akeno-san. Kazuma greeted them, making them stop their game. Hello Kazuma-san, I'm glad that you can join us here. Ria said, smiling while placing the final chess piece to end the game. Ara, looks like you win again, Ria-sama. Akeno said, smiling. Then Rias got off of her chair and headed towards Kazuma. Welcome to the Occult Research Club. Rias greeted, making a cute smile. Thank you Gremory-san, so I take it this group here is your peerage? Kazuma asked. Yes, everyone here is a part of my peerage including Issei-kun. Rias explained while sitting down on a couch next to the white-haired girl. The one sitting next to me is Kaneko Taoju, my rook. Rias said, presenting her. Hello, Hyoudou-senpai. Said the white-haired girl. Hello Kaneko-chan, it's nice to meet you, and you can call me Kazuma if you want. Kazuma replied, seeing her nodding. There is Hyoudou Kiba, my knight. Rias pointed towards the blonde-haired man. Hello Hyoudou-senpai, it's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. Kiba said politely while bowing. Likewise Kiba-kun, but please just Kazuma is fine. Kazuma replied, waving his arms. Very well, Kazuma-senpai. Kiba said while smiling. Have a seat Kazuma-san. Rias offered the other side of the sofas where Akeno was sitting. Kazuma accepted her offer and sat next to Akeno. So Gremory-san, what would like to know? Kazuma asked, leaning back on the couch. I'll get to the point, are you a threat to us? Rias questioned, making a serious face. Nope, I am not a threat to you. Like I said, I was hired by your brother to watch over you guys. Kazuma explained calmly. I see, but why did my Oni-sama hire you? Kazuma started to rub his temple. I wonder the same thing as well, should I ask my friend about it, but he told me that Surziches was just worried about his little sister. Kazuma explained, sighing. That makes sense. Ria's sweat dropped. Know that her brother would do something like this. But I can understand his reasons. Kazuma said. And what would that be? Kazuma-san, Akeno asked. The caring love of what an older sibling would do to protect their younger sibling. Kazuma explained, making a gentle smile. Issei's classroom. Issei was in his chair at the classroom waiting for Ria's messenger to come by, but no luck yet. He had a crazy day for him. First he woke up naked with Ria's Gremory, who was naked as well, which made his day seeing her beautiful, soft, eyes until his mom saw them naked on the bed. Next was Ria's hypnotizing his parents so he wouldn't have any complications with his parents about the skinship moment, walked to school with all the students staring at them. The guys envy him and the girls were disgusted to see his appearance next to one of the most beautiful girls in school. And to top it all off, his older brother came back from the other school as a new student and saved his life of being pummeled by the kendo club and avoiding a terrible bet of running naked around school while yelling I'm a big pervert and I'm into BL. He thought he was going to die if his brother lost a duel, but in the end his brother kept his word and won. Man, we're the messenger, she said it was supposed to meet me, but no one came. Issei said, resting his head on his hand while having the elbow on the desk for support. Suddenly all the girls in his class were screaming with joy. Issei turned his face, now understanding why. Hyoudou Kiba was now in his class. He was considered the school's #1 best look prince in Kuoh Academy. HMMP. Pretty boy prince, drop dead. Issei said, turning his head back, not giving a crap about Kiba. Hello. Issei turned again, seeing Kiba was now in front of him. What business do you have here? Issei said in a dismissive tone voice. I came here with a message from Ria's Gremory. Kiba replied, still making a smile. Oh, so it's you? Issei asked, being slightly surprised. Yes, will you come with me for a bit? Both of the male students started to leave, while the girls were complaining about Issei tainting Kiba and some thought of a BL pairing. The Occult Research Club. Issei and Kiba were now in the old schoolhouse housing. When they entered the room, Issei was surprised to see the room so clean. He expected the place to be dusty from being abandoned for so long. He guessed that someone is cleaning the place. But what caught his eyes were two things. One, a really cute white-haired girl eating a small piece of chocolate was Kaneko Taoju. And second, his older brother was here as well, drinking a cup of tea. Man, this tea is delicious. Kazuma said, enjoying his tea. Nice-san, Issei shouted. Kazuma turned to Issei. Hey Is-kun, is about time you got here. Kazuma said, smiling. Kazuma took a sip of his tea. Man, I gotta know what she used to make this, it's really good. Kazuma thought, still enjoying the tea. Nai-san, what are you doing here? Issei yelled in a surprised expression. Kazuma finished his tea and placed it on the table. I was asked by Gremory-san to come here earlier and discuss about important things. Kazuma answered. Before Issei could ask him more questions, he heard a splash. He turned his head, noticing a shower in the room. The shower? Someone's taking a shower right in the clubroom, Issei thought curiously. Then Issei was able to notice a shadowy figure getting out of the shower and drying itself off with a towel. He realizes the body of the shadowy figure resembles to Ria's gremmery. Even though he couldn't see her naked body, he could see the shadowy curves of her body. Over there is a naked Ria-senpai, right? Her curvaceous body is so erotic, Issei thought, staring with a huge perverted grin, showing a little bit of drool coming out of his mouth while examining the beautiful figure of Ria's gremmery. What a creepy face. Kaneko said bluntly while eating her chocolate. Kazuma chuckled from Kaneko's statement while Issei felt insult by the cute Kaneko. Then the curtain opens, revealing Ria's gremmery in her school uniform. I'm sorry. I couldn't take a shower last night because I stayed the night at your place, so I took a shower now. Ria's explained while drying her hair with a towel. Oh no, I don't mind at all. Issei replied, rubbing the back of his head. Then Issei noticed another person behind someone. It was Himejima Akeno. Ara. So you're Issei-kun, said the raven-haired girl. Issei was so shocked that he couldn't say anything. He couldn't believe that Akeno was in the club as well, considering that Rias and Akeno together are the two princesses of the school. Nice to meet you. My name is Himejima Akeno, please remember me. Akeno said with a gentle smile. Ah, I should be the one saying that. Please take care of me, Issei replied, nervously blushing while smiling at long raven-haired girl. After their introduction, Issei and Kazuma sat on one sofa. Akeno was standing next to Rias. And on the other sofa was Kaneko and Kiba. Looks like everyone is here. Hyoudou, Issei-kun, Ice-kun, and Hyoudou, Kazuma. Rias called out. Yes. Issei replied nervously while Kazuma turned to Rias, getting his attention. We, the Occult Research Club, welcome you two as devils. Rias said, introducing her club. Issei was confused and not convinced about her statement. Well, Kazuma wasn't surprised since he already knew about the devils. Akeno offered Issei and Kazuma tea. They both accepted the tea and started drinking it. It tastes good. Issei said surprisingly. I know, right, I still can't get enough of it. Kazuma said, enjoying his tea once again. Ara. Thank you very much. Akeno said happily. Akeno walked back to Rias, standing by her side once again. I will get to the point right away. We are all devils. Rias explained, making Issei unbelieving expression, still unconvinced about them being devils. Your face shows disbelief. Well, I suppose it can't be helped. You did see a guy with black wings, right? Rias asked, now convincing him. Issei remembered, he had a dream last night, or rather a nightmare. He was walking through the streets heading home from hanging out at his friend's house. Then a man in a suit appeared and attacked him for no reasons. He tried escaping from him, but he was soon pierced through the stomach by a light spear that he remembered what Yuma used on him. He thought those were just nightmares that shouldn't be reminded. But if she knew, then could it be? That's a fallen angel. They are former angels who served God, but they are beings who have fallen to hell because they had evil intention. They are also an enemy of us devils. Rias explained. Issei thought it was just some fantasy genre for some gamer show, but he continued to listen. We devils want to retain control of hell, and we have been battling fallen angels ever since. We, the devils, make pacts with humans for the price in order to obtain power, whereas the fallen angels take control of them to destroy us devils. Moreover, the gods have tasked many angels with the goal of destroying both the fallen angels and us devils, making the standoff. It's been like this for a long time now. Rias finished explaining. Kazuma crossed his arms while nodding, already knowing the history between them. During his stay at the Kage, he learned the history about all the three races from his masters. Issei, on the other hand, was not sure on how to take it in. Do you understand what I've said so far? Rias asked, crossing her arms. No, senpai. That kind of story is hard to take in by a normal student like myself. Is this what members of the Occult Research Club do? Issei asked. The Occult Research Club is just a camouflage. It's my hobby. It's actually a gathering place for devils. Rias replied. That makes sense. Kazuma said calmly. Issei-kun, do you remember Amano Yuma? Rias asked calmly. Issei eyes widened in shock. That day, you were on a date with her, right? Rias asked again. Kazuma turned to He sees Issei's expression turn into slight anger and fear. If you are joking around, then can you please stop now? I don't want to talk about it. Issei said with an angry tone. Kazuma stared at Issei with concern, seeing his brother in such a sensitive state. He fully understands now that not only did this Amano Yuma kill him, she played with his little brother's heart. Kun, Kazuma thought while clenching his fists tightly in anger, but at the same time, suppressed his powers from alerting the others. She exists. For certain. Rias said clearly. Issei was shocked. He tried talking to his friends about it one time, but no one believed him and no one remembered her. He thought that nobody would have believed him until now. Well, it looks like she tried to erase all the evidence around you. Rias explained. Then she snapped her finger, making Akeno take out a photo. When Issei saw the photo, he became speechless, while Kazuma stared at it with curiousness. "This is her, right? Amano Yuma-chan?" Riaz asked. Issei nodded, seeing picture of his girlfriend, who had disappeared. He took a picture on his phone before, but it didn't show after what happened that night. But this picture, it clearly shows that she is real, but the only difference is that she has black wings growing on her back. This girl is this is a fallen angel. She's the same kind as the one that attacked you last night. Riaz said but continues on. This fallen angel came in contact with you to accomplish a certain goal. After she accomplished it, she got rid of any record and evidence regarding herself. Riaz explained. Issei asked and Kazuma thought in a unison. Yes. To kill you? Riaz answered. Issei was now angry, while Kazuma made a serious expression. Why did she have to kill me? Issei snapped, raising his tone in anger. Issei then felt a hand on his left shoulder. He turned to see his brother was the one that placed hand on him. Iz-kun, you need to calm down. I know it's too much for you take, but for now, let her finish explaining. You'll know soon enough. Kazuma said, reassuring him while making a serious expression. Issei was still angry at the fact that he was killed. But he nodded, accepting it and started to calm himself down a little, letting Riaz continue. It couldn't be helped, Issei-kun. No, you were just unlucky. Riaz muttered. What do you mean, unlucky? Issei questioned with confused expression. That day, when you went on a date with her and went to the park where you were killed with Spear of Light. But, why would she want to kill me? That's because you possess the sacred gear. Sacred gear? Issei remembered hearing it before. Flashback. Sorry, you were a threat to us, so we decided to get rid of you early. If you want to hold a grudge, then hate the god who put the sacred gear in you, Yuma-chan said, grinning. End of flashback. Issei remembered Yuma mentioning it. Bremery-san, what is a sacred gear exactly? Kazuma asked. Simply speaking, the sacred gear resides in special humans, giving them abilities far above normal. Although most of them can only take effect within human society, some of them may possess enough power to harm us devils and the fallen angels. Akeno answered his question. Riaz continues after Akeno. Issei, you have that kind of power within your body. Riaz said while pointing at Issei's body. Issei stared down at his body, then stared to his lower part of his body. Hey, I know I'm a super healthy, virile guy. But that thing is actually a super famous tool nicknamed Sacred Gear, Issei exclaimed while covering his manhood. Such vulgarity, Kaneko said bluntly. Yeah, that's Iz-kun for you. Kazuma sighed, sweat dropping. No, just listen, okay, Issei-kun, Riaz said while face palming herself. Close your eyes and strike a pose that makes you feel like you could draw out a strong power from within. Riaz said. Issei got off of the sofa and started thinking about a pose of his favorite fighter, Son Goku from Dragon Ball. Now mimic the pose of that person. You have to imagine it strongly, okay? You cannot hold back. Riaz explained. Issei was now officially screwed. He is mimicking his favorite fighter in front of everyone. He felt embarrassed, thinking that they will laugh at him. Ahahahaha, Kazuma started laughing. Correction, his older brother was now laughing at him. The group turned seeing Kazuma laughing himself to death, seeing his brother posing as Son Goku. The whole group sweat dropped, while Issei made an upset expression to his brother for laughing at him. Kazuma finally calmed himself down. Ha. Sorry Iz-kun, but you gotta admit that was pretty funny, Kazuma said with a goofy smile. Riaz made a serious glare to Kazuma for interrupting Issei's focus. Don't worry Iz-kun, I'll join in too. Kazuma said excitedly, getting off the sofa while Issei made a confused expression. Kazuma and Issei were now making the same pose side by side. Nai-san, you know that you don't have to do this with me, right? Issei asked feeling embarrassed. Yay, but I won't let you feel embarrassed by yourself. And besides, it's been a long time since we posed as our favorite fighter, right? Kazuma said smiling. Right, Issei smiled back. Ara. Issei-kun is lucky to have a brother like him. Akeno said smiling. The others nodded, agreeing to her statement. Ready Iz-kun? Ready Nai-san? The brothers focused their mind on performing a Kamehameha blast. Kazuma was ready to make a pretend blast, while Issei suddenly lost all of his focus. Issei tried his hardest to make his sacred weapon appear, but what was delaying his full effort was Ria's Gremory sitting on her desk, having her panties showing. He kept staring at the beautiful redhead's black panties while trying to resist it. Riaz waited for her cute pawn to bring out his sacred gear. But in the end, Issei couldn't fully focus. It appears that you are not yet ready. Riaz said, getting off the desk. Don't worry Iz-kun, you'll be able to make it appear next time. Kazuma reassured, patting his brother's back. Yay. Haha. Issei said, fake laughing. He knew that if Riaz hadn't accidentally had her panties shown, he would have been able to focus more. But a pair of black panties got the better of him. But wasn't it some sort of mistake then? Issei asked. The truth remains, that fallen angel targeted you. Riaz said. But if that's true, then how am I still alive? Issei asked, making a confused expression. You called me when you were on the verge of death. I was summoned through this paper. Rias explained while pulling out a leaflet. Issei remembered seeing the leaflet before. When he was waiting for Yuma, one of the people that work around the streets handed him one. The leaflet had a weird circle and a catchphrase that reads, "We will grant your wish." Rias explained the leaflets that have a magic circle written on them allow people to summon them easily. She also explained that after he was attacked by a fallen angel, he wished for Rias so hard that the leaflet summoned her. When I was summoned and saw you, I discovered that Issei-kun possessed a sacred gear. So I saved your life. Rias said. You were reborn as a devil of mine, Rias Gremory's servant. As my servant devil. Ah. Everyone sprouted wings from their back. Their wings were different from the fallen angels that Issei remembered seeing. Instead of black feathery wings, the group's wings were more bat-like. Then he felt something on his back, he turned his head seeing his own pair as well. He couldn't believe it, he really became a devil, meaning his life as a human was now over. Alright, let's introduce everyone anew. Kiba-kun. Rias said. Kiba nodded. My name is Kazuma Hyoudou. As you know, I'm a second year like Hyoudou Issei-kun, I'm a devil. Nice to meet you. Kiba greeted with a friendly expression. First year Taoju Kaneko. Pleased to meet your acquaintance, I'm a devil too. Kaneko said with no expression while bowing. My name is Himejima Akeno, and I'm in third year. I'm also the vice president of this occult research club. I'm also a devil. Yufufu. Akeno said while bowing her head politely. And I'm their master as well as being a devil from the house of Gremory, Rias Gremory. My house holds the rank of duke. Let's get along from now on, Ice-kun and Kazuma-san. Rias greeted them proudly. Issei now turned towards his brother, wondering if he was a devil as well. Kazuma deeply sighed. Well, I guess I should fully introduce myself then. Kazuma said while walking back from them. Hello, my name is Hyoudou Kazuma. I am Issei's older brother, a third year like Gremory-san and Akeno-san that just transferred earlier. And no Is-kun, I'm not a devil, I am a ninja. Kazuma stated. Everyone stared bluntly at Kazuma, except Akeno who giggled. What? Kazuma asked, tilting his head. Nai-san, I can't see you as a ninja. Issei replied. Why not? Kazuma asked. Because. I can't imagine you wearing ninja tights. Issei answered. Everyone imagined him wearing a tight ninja outfit while making a funny hand sign. Everyone started laughing at the idea except for Kaneko and Kiba who sweat dropped from thinking about it. Haha, very funny guys. Kazuma said in a sarcastic tone. I'm sorry Kazuma-san. Issei-kun has a point, the thought of you wearing it is kind of funny. Rias said, after calming herself down. Kazuma looked down in shame. I think you'll look kawaii in tights. Akeno said, making Kazuma blush and shiver from thinking about those weird outfits. Well, enough about that. All you guys need to know is that I'm a ninja. Kazuma said smiling, trying to changing the subject. Alright, any more questions about me? Kazuma asked. Akeno raised her hand up. So Kazuma-san. If you're a ninja, then can I ask you how you know what I was wearing earlier? Yufufu. Akeno said smiling. Everyone turned towards Kazuma wondering except for Rias and Akeno while he was making a slight blush. Kazuma said nervously. Nai-san, what is Akeno-senpai talking about? Issei asked. Yes Kazuma-san, what is Akeno-san talking about? Rias said smiling while pretending to not know about earlier. Kazuma chuckled and took a long deep breath. Well, earlier, Akeno and I met at the rooftop and we played a game. During our little game she asked me what type of underwear she was wearing, Kazuma said nervously. The group was surprised except for Rias and Akeno. I figured out what she was wearing because I was able to read her aura. Kazuma explained while blushing from embarrassment. Rias lightly giggled seeing one of her new club member embarrassed. Issei made a jealous expression at his brother, wanting to know what Akeno was wearing. Kiba sweat drop. Kaneko glared coldly at Kazuma. Kazuma-senpai is a pervert. Kaneko said coldly. Kazuma looked down in shame. Okay, I kinda deserved that. Kazuma said while sighing from Kaneko's statement. That's an interesting ability of knowing what type of underwear I was wearing, Kazuma-san. Akeno said making a gentle smile. Haha, well not a lot of ninjas can read others' auras like I can. But I wouldn't consider it my proudest moment of using that ability on something indecent. Kazuma chuckled while rubbing the back of his head from embarrassment. Then Issei grabbed onto Kazuma's shirt and started shaking him like a bobblehead. Not your proudest moment. Nai-san, knowing what girls wear is always a man's dream. You have to teach me it, Nai-san, Issei yelled while shaking his brother. The occult group sweat dropped of Issei's perverted statement. Nighttime. Issei and Kazuma were walking home from the occult club. Ever since they left the old school building, they haven't said a word to each other. Issei was looking down thinking about something, while Kazuma was staring at the night sky. Then finally Kazuma broke the silent atmosphere between them. So, Aka-san told me that you slept naked with Gremory-san. Was that true, Is-kun? Kazuma asked with a smirk on his face. Issei started blushing, remembering the images of Ria's beautiful naked body, especially her breast. So you did. Well, what happened, did you go all the way? Kazuma asked with a curious expression. What? No. We didn't go all the way, we didn't even do it at all. If we did, I would have remembered and enjoyed the sweet moments of rubbing her big beautiful breast. Issei exclaimed while imaging Ria's breast. Kazuma sighed in relief, even though he knew his brother wouldn't be able to yet. Well, you'll be able to next time. But remember, have a condom on you, we don't want Aka-san having a heart attack if she knew that you became a father already. Kazuma said, teasing Issei, punching softly at Issei's shoulder. That's real funny, Nai-san. Issei said sarcastically while sweat dropping. Finally, they reached their house. Issei walked to the front door and realized that Kazuma was walking to the next door house. Nai-san, what are you doing over there? What are you talking about? I live here now. Kazuma explained. BHH. How can you afford a house after 4 years? Issei yelled in shock. Well, let's just say that I saved up some money and bought a house next door to you. So, you have a new neighbor now. Kazuma explained while rubbing the back of his head. Wait, does Aka-san and Otu-san know? Issei asked. I called them earlier explaining that I'll be living next door to you guys from now on, Kazuma said. Issei was shocked and at the same time felt sad that he wouldn't hang out with him like they used to. Oh, I almost forgot. Kazuma tossed something over to Issei. Issei almost dropped the item, but caught it. His eyes widened in surprise, seeing a key in his hands. It's an extra key to my house. So whenever you need something, feel free to come over. Kazuma said, smiling. You got it, Nai-san. Issei said, smiling cheerfully, and went inside. Kazuma made a gentle smile after Issei went inside. He was finally home. Even though he's not living with them, he knows that he can see them again anytime he wants. He remembered the day when he left his family. Flashback. The older brother walked to the car, then he felt something wrapped around his waist. He turned his head to see his younger brother hugging him, not wanting to let go of his only brother. He could hear him sobbing behind him, mumbling something. Ani-san, when you come back can we go peeking at girls' locker rooms together? Issei asked, crying. Kazuma smiled. He then placed his hand on Issei's head and started rubbing it, messing his little brother's hair. Yay. When I come back, we can peek at all the girls you want. Kazuma replied, smiling cheerfully. End of flashback. Kazuma chuckled to himself for making a perverted promise to his little brother. A few days have passed since Kazuma and Issei became members of the Occult Research Club. The both of them started walking to school on the morning and sometimes come back home after the Occult Research Club. Issei introduced his brother to his two best friends, Mitsuda and Motohana. Kazuma heard about them when he started school at Kuoh, learning that Mitsuda and Motohana were also perverts like Issei, being called the perverted trio. Both of his friends were surprised that Issei had a brother to begin with. They asked Issei about why he had never mentioned about his brother before. Issei explained that he forgot since he got too distracted from reading and watching all the porn, which made them sweat drop. Then after school, they had to give out leaflets to people around the streets, park, even the mall. Issei told Kazuma that he didn't have to do work, but Kazuma didn't mind as long as he can help his brother out. It was now night time. Kazuma was jumping from houses to houses around the area, working on a side mission for Itachi. He wanted to tag along with his little brother's first contract, but he knew that Issei wanted to do this on his own. He couldn't believe that Issei couldn't use a magic circle on his own because of his magic level was lower than a devil child that are able to use it. As he keeps jumping without tiring himself, he sensed someone following him nearby. He felt the energy of his follower faint but not completely gone to hide from him. He didn't want to alert the follower from knowing, so he decided to wait for the right moment to strike. He traveled around the whole area for 10 minutes, still having the follower behind him. He finally stopped, landing in front of an abandoned building. The follower stopped as well, hiding behind a tree while spying on Kazuma. Then suddenly, Kazuma threw something on the floor, making smoke puff around him, causing the follower to be surprised. Before the follower could proceed any further. Don't move. Kazuma told the follower while holding a kunai to its throat. Now, explain your reason why you're following me. Kazuma ordered in a serious tone. The follower giggled. I never knew Kazuma-san had such a demanding side in him, said the female voice. Kazuma jumped back in shock, recognizing that voice. Hey Akeno. What the hell are you doing here? Kazuma asked in shock, pointing at her. Yufufufu. I was asked by Ria-sama to follow you on what you were doing while trying to avoid being discovered by you. But it seems you already knew from the moment I started spying on you. Akeno said, smiling. Kazuma sighed. It wasn't hard for me to know, but you could have just asked if you wanted to come. Kazuma explained. I thought ninjas were supposed to be secretive about themselves and their missions, Akeno asked. Depending on the missions. But that is if I wanted to let you know, Akeno-san. Kazuma answered, walking into the abandoned building. Akeno smiled, following him as well. They both were inside of the building, seeing that it was a mess. There were broken windows, rusted poles and stairs, even though the inside is big. While they were exploring the abandoned building, Akeno wrapped her arms around Kazuma's right arm, making him blush redder than a cherry. Akeno-san, could you please let go of my arm? Kazuma asked nervously. But I feel protected by holding on to you, Kazuma-san. Akeno said seductively, teasing him. Kazuma blushed even more, having his left eye twitching nervously. He could feel her arm squeezing tighter, making him feel her soft breast. He had to admit, Akeno's breast felt soft. He snapped out of thought by shaking his head, trying to get rid of the perverted thought. Akeno giggled seeing the nervous ninja. Kazuma-san, I wanted to know how you were able to catch me so fast before I could even make a move, Akeno asked. Kazuma thought for a second. Well. Let's just say that I'm pretty fast on my toes. Kazuma answer. So that's how you got me. Yufufufu. Akeno giggled while holding on to him tighter. Kazuma felt like he is going to faint, feeling her soft breast more and more. Then he finally thought of an idea. Hey, Akeno-san. Yes, Kazuma-san, Akeno said seductively, making him turn his head trying to avoid her beautiful face. Kazuma nervously took out a picture of a little girl. I didn't know you have a fetish of little girls. Akeno said smiling. Hell no. I am not a lolicon and this is my mission. Kazuma said in an angry tone. Her name is Kyoto-sume, she is a low-class devil that was kidnapped by a group of stray devils yesterday night. I was called to rescue her and take down the group. Kazuma explained, seeing Akeno understanding the mission. Any reason why they kidnapped her, Akeno asked. No, I would need to bring them back to the village for questioning. They both stopped. Akeno-san, I already picked up on their trail inside the building. What I would like for you to do is wait here. Kazuma said. Yufufufu. And we were just having a good time together. Akeno giggled, letting go of his arm. Kazuma sighed deeply in relief, thankful for his idea. Okay, here's the plan. Kazuma said. End of the here. So that's it for today's video guys. Before you go, just like the video and share it with your friends. Bye.